So Ryan Lizza decides upon the excerpt of this thing being published in Vanity Fair to finally really speak out about this, which he really hasn't so far. I mean, Olivia did give a couple of minor interviews just to sort of salvage her reputation when this was all happening to her, but she hadn't done the big in-depth thing like she just did with the New York Times and the excerpt of Vanity Fair. So now Ryan Lizza has had about enough of this, and he decides on, he left Politico during this whole scandal, and he decides on his new, it's not Substack, it's a publication I hadn't actually yet heard of. What's it called, Steve?
Telos.
Oh, it is his Substack, but he just calls it Telos News. What does that mean, Telos? Is that a Spanish reference? I don't even know what that is. What is Telos?
It's Latin.
Telos. It's Latin? Oh, I went to public school. I don't understand that.
I can't tell you what it means.
Okay. Well, in any event, I'll ask my kids. They're a private school. They know Latin, or at least a few words. I learned a few in law, but not enough. Okay. So he is like, okay, bitches, it's time for me to pick up my pen because I'm a writer too. And here's what happens. The New York Post is writing this up. They say, Lizza, well, I mean, I read his piece, so actually we don't need to, I have it here, stand by. We don't need to rely on the New York Post, though they did do a good write-up of it. Where is it? I have so many papers. Maybe I left it in the other room. My God.
I like how they went to the overhead camera so we can see all of your papers.
It's like there's so many, there's so many affairs to keep track of. I don't have it all. Okay, in any event, I guess I left it back in my other room, but I do have the write-up on it and my team's write-up on it. Okay. He writes about how early on in their relationship, he helped her out of a jam with Keith Olbermann, whom she had dated. It's the way he words it in his piece is a little weird. It almost makes it sound like she cheated on him with Keith Olbermann, but that's not it. She dated Keith Olbermann when she was very young, like 20, 21, and like new to New York, and lived with Keith Olbermann, or at least he paid for her studio apartment, and points out like he lavished thousands of dollars upon her. Keith Olbermann is now gleefully confirming all of this, saying, oh, I was making tons of money at the time. We were together 4 years. That's 4 birthdays, 4 Christmases, 4 anniversaries. What was I supposed to get her? Like a Kmart gift card? Like, okay, you're super important, Keith Olbermann. But I'm not going to lie, him actually being Olivia Nuzzi's boyfriend for 4 years does make him slightly cooler than I thought he was.
Dude's got game.
So he's out there, he's enjoying every second of this. And Ryan Lizza writes about how she came to him, Olivia did, and is like, please help me, clean up this mess that I made with Keith Olbermann. And he did. I'm not exactly sure how they needed to do it, but she needed to get away from him. She didn't like Keith Olbermann when all was said and done. What a shock. And he helped her clean up that mess. Do we still have Emily? Did we lose her? Uh-oh. We lost Emily. Oh my God. Is it Keith Olbermann? He's interfering. This is the part where it just gets good for Keith Olbermann. All right, we're going to get her back on, but she knows the story, so I'm going to continue reading for the listening audience. Okay. And then Ryan Lizza writes as follows, that there was a period in their relationship where he uncovered a secret love letter on hotel stationery after she returned from covering what he thought was just the presidential race in 2020. She was on the road. He thought she was just doing like presidential politics coverage. And he finds a secret love letter she began to pen but did not yet complete on hotel stationery. And it was not addressed to Ryan. It was addressed to someone named Mark. It went on to like have some kind of corny lines like, quote, if I swallowed every drop of water from the tower above your house, I would still thirst for you. She had written in this note dated March 5th, 2020, according to Lizza. Their home, he noted, had no water tower. Oh God, this is so sad. Why do we know this? Why are we knowing any of this? He wrote that another page named the recipient of the letter as Mark, which is not his name, which he said confirmed what he feared an alleged physical relationship with someone other than himself. By early 2020, he, Ryan, and Olivia had signed a contract to write a book on the presidential race, he says. But Nuzzi was busy spending more and more time on the road, including in South Carolina, which he believed was for reporting. Instead, Lizza now claims that she, quote, secretly followed this particular man on the campaign trail to pursue him, allegedly sending him explicit photos and messages while telling Ryan Lizza that she was, quote, dealing with the crisis concerning her sick mother. He says she admitted to him that the relationship with this man intensified, ultimately leading to a sexual encounter at his home the night she went dark and stopped answering messages from Lizza. And he finishes his piece, stand by phoning his agent and delivering the news. Quote, "We have a big problem," he recalled telling the agent. Quote, "Olivia is sleeping with Mark Sanford." Mark Sanford was a presidential candidate back in 2020 who made news because he was caught cheating on his wife with a different woman, which became the big story. Remember, he went like hiking with her on like some Argentinian trail or something. I can't remember the details, but it was all over the news, and he had been considered a front runner, and then it just killed his chances. But back in 2020, people weren't responding to this kind of news the way Trump did. You know, it was like fake news, screw everyone. And then people looking the other way, like pretending not to believe it. It really did mess up his campaign. And now it turns out, according to Ryan Lizza, that Olivia, too, was having an affair with Mark Sanford. And at a time, he alleges, she has not yet responded to this, so we'll find out whether she denies this, at a time when she was covering him. And indeed, if you look back, she did profile Mark Sanford. There are pictures of it. And Ryan Lizza says at this time, she was either in the midst of or beginning an affair with him and went on to continue covering him. And she was sleeping with her subject, which is a very clear journalistic no. That is not okay by anyone's measure. He asks, how could we write a book about the presidential campaign if Olivia had a sexual relationship with one of the candidates? And they didn't write that book, though I think by 2024, when they broke up over the alleged Kennedy affair, they had once again decided to write a book together. Like they patched things up after Sanford, stayed together, and once again had decided to write a book together, which once again had to be shelved because, again, she was covering RFKJ and allegedly fell in love with him. Well, she says she fell in love with him and began this via text affair, she claims. Again, RFKJ is suggesting, though not that explicitly, that she's some sort of a psycho stalker who like developed a fixation on him after one profile of him. Okay, that's where things are now, Emily. She's back with us. So how do the Ryan Lizza revelations about Olbermann, Sanford, and this allegedly being a pattern change things? Because I will tell you, there's now a push by Twitter, by X, for her to lose the gig she's now got at Vanity Fair. They want her to be punished for all of this. That's really what they want, more than she already has been. She already lost her job at New York Magazine.
Well, I think that's dumb. I mean, she's an essayist. I think her title with Vanity Fair is West Coast correspondent, something like that. And she's an essayist. If she's not covering like the daily TikTok of Capitol Hill and campaigns and politics as someone who's like breaking news, then she's just going to sort of cover politics from a literary perspective, which I'm assuming is what the gig is going to look like. Then if she's writing in first person, new journalism style, by all means, like we should should be begging her to continue writing at this point because she's giving so much. But Lizza, I found just his revelation, which he wrote in this like overwrought prose where he's talking about tinkering in the garden and tending to his bamboo and cleaning up Olivia's messes.
He's really upset about the bamboo in the garden. He's trying to pull it out, and it keeps regrowing.
I mean, these are the types of people who just like love making like, I don't know. These are the types of people that think very highly of themselves. And Lizza is the type of person here who thinks he is coming across in a way that repairs his reputation, but actually it is so profoundly unmasculine to treat
not great.
No, I mean, to treat a woman that you were with this way, to talk about how you didn't really want to get engaged to her, you just wanted to live with her and test her out, and then to say, well, Olivia started this, I was going to be quiet about all of it, we agreed to be quiet about all of it, and then to go spill all of these details, and to be the one who nobody would have known about Mark Sanford if he hadn't written about it. Like to be the man and to be the person who has to tattletale on this younger woman that you were in a relationship with despite having children and a family, you were living with her, and to blame her. I mean, it doesn't make him come across better. It makes him come across like a narcissist and immature, and there's something like deeply unmasculine about it. So I thought the Substack was helpful to that effect in giving us some insight into how he conducts himself.
Not to mention, all of the men on X that I have read today are like, dude, this is not something you want to admit about yourself, that she had this affair, that you stayed with her, that she had yet another affair. Like it's not great. I understand that point, but like in his defense, I'll defend him. I think he's feeling extremely angry and betrayed because he did forgive her clearly that first time. And I'm sure it was painful to read the excerpt. He read it with a very different eye, I'm sure, than you and I did, and did not appreciate, they're talking about her having RFKJ's baby and what she loved about him, his eyes and his nose, and how he said he'd take a bullet for her, and how his desire. I mean, can you imagine if you were her fiance, the anger that would be surging through your veins in reading that? Now, he says he's with another person now and that this new gal's great and he loves doing the Substack, and that's all good for Ryan. But I'm sure his anger led him to just say, fuck it, it's on. Like, I'm going to drop the bomb that I've been withholding, which is because this really, it does change things. I mean, honestly, it does change things to find out it's a pattern, if it's true, that like this is the second presidential candidate that she's covered and slept with at the same time. Like, I'm not saying it's great to do it once. For the record, that I've never slept with the source. Just want to make sure I'm not making excuses for her, because this is something like, trust me, I've never slept with the source. But it's one thing, like affairs of the heart, people are unhappily married, but like a pattern, and especially with like the older man thing. And it's like, I see the point people are raising, which is like, how could you employ her as a politics reporter at this point? She is, as you point out, West Coast editor for Vanity Fair, which seems fine. And I don't think for 1 second she should lose that position.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, the sad part of this is Olivia did lose her father pretty young, and her also claim to fame was parlaying a gig on the Anthony Weiner campaign, an internship on the Anthony Weiner campaign, into into a big essay. And so it just seems like she's been through a perfect storm of personal and political and professional pain and weirdness. And I get that's sort of the poetry that she's trying to come across, that she's trying to come across in the book, even calling it American Canto, this idea that her personal story has been interwoven with this really crazy decade plus in American politics in a somewhat interesting and instructive way. But also, I mean, it's definitely, there's clearly something that personally is creating a pattern, and I hope that she gets help for that, because it's replicated itself a number of times now in a way that's it has hurt other kids. I'm sure Liz's kids have been really hurt by this. I'm sure Lizza has been really hurt by this, and nobody deserves that.
It sounds like he hurt them. And then they got more hurt. I don't know. I think even Lizza is 10 years older than she is. Right? Like,
At
there's
least,
Overman, who is like decades older. Lizza's at least 10 years older. RFKJ is almost 40 years older. Sanford's a lot older too. Like, I don't know. Somebody, I think it was Charles C.W. Cook tweeted out, or somebody tweeted out a picture, a headline of like Olivia Nuzzi in the White House with Trump and like three other figures. And he just wrote, uh-oh. It was just like, which was funny. But look, what I would want, and look, she doesn't need my advice, but Olivia has tons of raw talent. And she's got a very bright future. This is a dark chapter, but she's going to be around as a political writer for a very long time. And I would love for her and all young writers coming up and young reporters coming up to realize that the best and really only way to make your name in this industry is through your talent. I mean, it's the best and really only way to rise up and sustain a career in this industry. And, you know, the more distractions like this, part of it is life. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes, if you're a public figure, make news. And sometimes when the news is about you and it's so loud, you feel like you have to say something. I think that's kind of the position she was in here. But it's not something you want to dine out on at all. It's something you want to move on from quickly. And, you know, with any sort of PR crisis like this one, it's probably just best to own it all, own it early and move on. Because it's not a fake news controversy. It's a real controversy. You know, she admits this happened. So it's like, okay. I mean, I will just say, like, when involved in fake news controversies, I have learned at the ripe old age I am, don't give them any oxygen, because that's exactly what your detractors want. They want nothing more than for you to spin your own wheels on their bullshit nonsense about you. It took me 55 years as of today. But I finally figured that one out, EJ. So hopefully the young gals coming up behind me, and guys for that matter, can learn that
It's your birthday,
sooner
Megyn?
rather than later. It's my birthday.
Happy birthday. This story couldn't have come at a better time.
Thank you so much. My friend just lost her ring. She went to replace it. She realized it was a gold ring. The price of it has gone up like 25% since she bought the ring a year ago. That's because gold is on the march upward. And it is the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty. And if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold, I say, with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th, so don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.